Hi, it's been a while. Yes, pain, medical appointments, dental stuff, and yeah, and studying for the future and researching for the future. I'd like to leave this country and work until retirement, so I'll be safe when I have Alzheimer's. Um, but I wanted to do a post about wage theft um, throughout the years. I have mentioned in my sister channel with the nonprofit I worked at, Good Shepherd, that a secretary used to do my timesheet. I mean, sign ins and sign outs, and I say I do it myself, and she says, okay, if you do it correctly. You know, I got hired to do curriculum, make a curriculum, and implement it in after school secretary. Yet this secretary was, I forgot her name, I'd say her name, was, implying that I don't know how to do this right when I come in, right when I leave. And, well, half an hour was missing here and there if I was kept after, um, these discussions because somebody peeped into a classroom and saw something that and inferred stuff, and I had to explain myself. Half an hour was $20, and 15 years ago, yeah, lunch. If I were to buy lunch, it was like $8 to eat well, not like 20 or 30. And a bag of lentils was $1.50, or like a slice of pizza. A slice of good pizza was $1.50, whatever. Um, so there's that. Writing in the incorrect hours, and I call Good Shepherd Services main office, and they just brushed it off. But that. But I want to talk about restaurants. And I was thinking of when my arms were functional to go back into restaurant work, because after the pandemic people are tipping more ethically, and and I had thought that if restaurant owners had stopped take stealing waitresses tips or waiters tips, I'd like to go back. So I looked online, I looked on Reddit, and they still do it. You have to. I know in restaurants you do tip out to a service bartender, but we used to have to tip out to the kitchen, meaning they didn't want to pay correct wages to the kitchen, so they take it out of our tips, and we also had to tip out to our boss. Um, and and back then they didn't even explain it. It's just, you have a job. You get to make money. You don't have to be here. But on Reddit, I see that people who work in Japanese restaurants have to tip out to their boss and to the chef because they're entertaining. Half open kitchens and open kitchens, like noodle shops, sushi restaurants with sushi counters, and grill restaurants with grills. I worked in all, and after like starting in 1992 or three, it became custom for the chefs and owners to take 30% ish from the tips. And I mentioned in past uploads, like from 2022, their kids go to private colleges, their kids go to private school, private high school, private elementary school, or They say they're poor when they send them to Catholic school. They would not send their kids to public school, or they don't get into specialty school. Um, I I have mentioned in past uploads about how I went to Stuyvesant, so you can listen to the uploads from before about how I got into Stuyvesant High School while having addicted parents who didn't work, um, and I still passed the test. But yes, the kitchens were open, but especially in sushi places, they were drunk and would spend like, if they got drunk or if somebody was, you know, flirting with them, or flirting might not be in most cases. The customer is buttering them up for a hope for like free tastings of new dishes, or free pieces of sushi, or the best cuts. They pay, but they get the better cut than somebody sitting at a table, or um, a non-Japanese person, and buying them sake. So they're too drunk, and they're saying that that business is more important than people sitting at tables ordering off the menu. So they wouldn't make these dishes, and if I say they're waiting 45 minutes, they say too bad. And I get in trouble if they walked out after an hour and a half of a very simple dish like a sushi regular, or and it's not crowded. Like, let's say, like, there's one, two, three, four, five. There's 6 tables that seat two and 4 tables that seat four, and there's only 8 people in the restaurant, in the seating area, not at the bar. And they wait an hour and a half for like a sushi regular, and they walk out. I get in trouble, and they still took my money. They would like the at one point in the evening, the wife will come, take the tip jar, take all the receipts, and leave with the money. That would happen often on the weekends. When I worked weekdays, we basically, added up at the end of the night, and we were able to take home our tips. But on a Wednesday night, you know, the volume in the restaurant was low. That place the food was really, really good, but people go to other places because they didn't have to wait an hour and a half for a simple dish. And there was this grill place that I worked at where after 3 or 4 months, I found out that they split the tips with the kitchen. So the kitchen doesn't get paid by the restaurant, they get paid by our tips. So I was bringing home 50% of what I made. It was a pooling system, which was okay at that time. My rent was like $400, so if I went home with $40 per lunch shift and have $800 a month, I can live off of it. But extremely, absolutely unethical, because we worked hard. We had to be fast and polite. And you have to be extra polite if you work in a Japanese restaurant. And the food was more expensive than like a diner back then, or in the 90s, in the mid 90s. Eating Japanese lunch specials is much cheaper than eating in a diner. No, more expensive. I'm sorry. It's more expensive to eat in a diner now. So that was that. There was also noodle noodle shops too. When I worked in a noodle shop in the 80s, we went home with our tips. But there was a place in Midtown. It's closed since then. I'd like to name names, maybe my sister channel one day, but also like you can't boycott or anything. They closed, but I I made okay money. I mean, livable. It was an $80 an hour, and then I found out that's probably $80 a lunch shift. Cause white people, white dancers I knew who I was in dance groups with, who worked lunch shifts, that they were making that much money, and I was making like 50, 60. And about half a year after I started working there, I think the head waitress who does all the adding up at the end of the lunch shift, she heard me talking to the boss when he asked how much I made that day. So the next day she said, if he ever asks you that again, say, I don't know yet. I'm going home before they did the calculations because I have to go to a dance class or a rehearsal. I found out that we weren't allowed to take home more than $30 per shift. And they were they were like tampering with the money, the books, so we can take home more of what we were supposed to take home. And yeah, that boss's daughter went to private school and private college, and the manager who worked there, that's the one who said that. First of all, like I asked him to stop being inappropriate with me, touching me, he would say, "Well, you're not attractive. That didn't happen." And then said that, "Oh, he hopes to God that his daughter doesn't end up like me." Um, his daughter went to private school and to private college. They were skimming off waitresses and waiters' money, tips, so their kids could get more comfy and cushy lives than us. Um, and then telling me specifically that they didn't want their kids to end up like me. I this is wage theft, and so I have a few things I have to do until the third week of September that I won't be looking for work, and I'm still in pain. But I really want to start saving money so I can move. I'd like to leave this country with somewhat an amount of money that I can bring towards my retirement when I go. I'm 53 now. I the 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 neurologist canceled my appointment, and then the secretary said that it's gonna take 6 more months for me to get that appointment back because she's booked. So I got an appointment with a different neurologist for this month of July, but I don't know what the onset of my dementia will be with my brain damage. The brain damage that came from being hit in the head too many times. Um, and I will make another upload about the circumstances that I was hit in the head too many times, and then many times with the intention of knocking me unconscious. So this was an upload about wage theft. And please comment below about your experiences in food service or other people who thought it was okay to steal from your earnings. Bye.